a little higher.
This is Larry Connors USA. Larry Connors USA.
You remember the Democrats said that the Republican plan for health care, back when we were debating Obamacare, they said it was get sick and then you die. Well, can you imagine having a sick child that may be dying and you're told that the Republicans want your child to die? That sounds an incitement to violence. And guess what? One of Bernie Sanders' supporters came to the ball field, nearly killed Steve Scalise, wounded 3 or 4 others, shot one of the staff members 10 feet from me, and spewed 200 bullets and would have killed more had the police not stopped him. But nobody talked about impeaching Bernie Sanders. Maxine Waters has said, get up in their face. So has Cory Booker. Become a mob. We want you to mob them in restaurants and cause mayhem. That sounds like an incitement to violence, but nobody's talking about impeaching Maxine Waters. Nobody's talking about impeaching Bernie Sanders or Cory Booker for saying get up in their face. So it's a significant hypocrisy and double standard that they're putting forward, and they should be called out on it. We should not be shy about calling them out about their hypocrisy.
No, sir, we should not, and we should call it out each and every time, and I'll make a point of doing it. Again, the words of Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, Republican. In that first case he pointed out, I mean, that would have been very easy to put at the feet of Bernie Sanders. And if by chance that Democrat representatives were on a ball field preparing for a ball game and playing around, and a guy showed up, as this guy did, and starts shooting and trying to kill them, but he had on a Trump hat or a Trump shirt or any kind of connection to Trump, that would, again, be used repeatedly as all Trump supporters believe that this is the way things should be done. This one was a Bernie Sanders supporter. It got quickly documented. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter. Do I hold Bernie Sanders responsible, even if he had said that basically the Republicans want you children to die if they get sick because they're not going to help you? I mean, I would not hold Bernie Sanders responsible for somebody doing something like that. Now, if he said, go get a gun and take out as many congressmen as you can, yeah, those are words that you can pin something on. But if he talked about what's going to happen if the Democrats don't get to do what they want, that the Republicans are going to end up passing legislation that will mean your children will die because of their can't get the health care they need, that's a stretch. And I don't know of anyone who said, blame Bernie for it. There might have been some who said it, but I mean, I don't know of anyone that said it of any value, and it has no value. And, of course, you have many on the left that have said similar or worse things. Burned down the White House, grabbed the Trump kids, the youngest one, and turned them over to pedophiles. I mean, that kind of stuff, that's insightful. Whether or not someone carries it out, that's a kind of language that's threatening to the president's children. You can't have it two ways, though. That's the problem. Except for the Democrats, they can, and they do, and they will, because they get allowances. And if someone actually pins them down on it, they say, oh, our bad, I withdraw, I made a mistake. Forgive me. And they do. They just kind of let it go by. Don't bother. We're not going to come after you again. We're just going to ignore it. And the mainstream media will cover for them every time. And that's been the story in the past. It's going to get worse. I will tell you now, it is going to get worse over the next 4 years. Let me repeat again. I've said this previously, but I sincerely believe this. This program, and I'll say other programs like it, but I'm concerned about this one. This program is going to be more important in the next 4 years than I've been in the last 4. Because previously you had the mainstream media basically just carrying the water for the Democrats, covering up some of their sins and telling their stories the way they want. and always attacking Trump. But going forward, they're either going to be on mute and not say anything, or they are going to become state-controlled media. Question yesterday at the White House press briefing, knowing that Biden had talked to Putin. Peter Doocy of Fox News asked, well, what did Biden talk to you about? What did he say? And Biden made some offhand remark. He said that he wanted to know what you're doing or something like that. And the reporters in the room kind of laughed. Well, you could laugh to an extent, but that's not the way it would have been played if a question had been asked by Jim Acosta Trump. And they'd be screaming and shouting on what exactly said. I mean, we want to know. I mean, they didn't bother. They just kind of let it go. And then you got the examples of how Andrew Cuomo has been treated during the pandemic. Andrew Cuomo, who by his order told nursing homes in his state, you have to take and keep COVID-19 elderly patients. If they get sent to the hospital should send them back and you keep them in your nursing homes. And to my knowledge, while there's been a request as to how many actually have died in those nursing homes, there has been no verification or information from the state of New York. There was a report from the Associated Press back late last summer that at that time had documented 6,600 deaths. That's what they're saying. And Cuomo later did turn around and reverse his order. In May, after his March decision with a directive that required nursing homes to accept COVID-positive patients released from the hospitals. In May, he changed it. And then Cuomo, in an interview with CNN and MSNBC, what was a friendly interview because they're not going to challenge him that much. He was asked about, what have you learned about COVID and the public? Listen to this answer, please.
What I've found all through this crisis is people value the truth. You know, give me the information. Mm-hmm. Don't give me spin. Give me facts that don't change. Tell me the truth. The country hadn't bought enough dosages. They now are going to buy enough dosages. It's 600 million. It will take 6 months. That's the truth. And until we get there, we have to watch these new strains. And that's the truth. So it is going to be a long 6 months, especially after what we've gone through. That is the truth.
That is the truth. And the other day he said we need to open up New York or we won't have anything to open up. But he and Bill de Blasio still say we cannot open up indoor dining in New York City. Go sit in a tent with a heater and they'll drop the drapes and that's not inside? Well, it's not inside the building, Larry, so it's not considered inside. Oh, okay. That really makes sense. And tell them the truth like his brother did, that he spent all of his time down in his basement when he had COVID to keep his family safe. And then Cuomo, in this interview with MSNBC, Nicole Wallace, started talking about, I'm proud of what New Yorkers have done. We've done better than anyone else. And he said, you want more of the truth? You want more of the truth? I'll tell you the truth. Andrew Cuomo.
Incompetent government kills people. Incompetent government kills people. More people died than needed to die in COVID. That's the truth.
Does that mean your nursing homes? What about that? I want you to think about it, and we'll hear from him again. But just think about that. Does he mean that incompetent government like he was doing? No, it's all got to be Trump. 400,000+ deaths, they all had to be at the foot of Donald Trump. Even though Trump stopped the flights first and got chastised and been called racist when he stopped the flights, and even Fauci says not necessary, and it's not going to be a big deal for us. Who's incompetent again, Cuomo?
Incompetent government kills people. Incompetent government kills people. More people died than needed to die in COVID. That's the truth.
Well, there are many who saw their in-laws die of the virus because they were in New York nursing homes in basically a petri dish of death. Would that be incompetent government, sir? Democrat government? Oh, maybe it's the same thing. So you want to learn to say the Pledge of Allegiance, or you think you already know it, or you don't care? Here's a test for you coming up. And a California city councilman, L.A. councilman, failed.
You can follow Larry on Larry Connors USA Facebook. Larry Connors USA Facebook.